Okay, Max is back. I made a post this morning about Edward. Edward is still living. He's on my lap. He may make a little squeak or two. I would show him to you, but I better not. And he's a pitiful little thing. But he's still conscious enough to know he's on my lap and that I'm petting him. Jenny made a call and she tried to catch, it's today's Sunday, and the vet's office is closed, and she tried to get a hold of the vet's office for whoever was going to be going to the vet's office. They have to, go in and open up and take care of the animals that are there over the weekend. And anyway, if we could have gotten a hold of somebody, she would have taken Edward over there. But as it is now, it is what it is. All right. That was one unpleasant thing to report. Facts of life are often unpleasant and have to be dealt with in unpleasant ways. It is how it is. I got into a bit of a wrangle with well, you know what? I don't even think that's important enough to waste my time talking about, so I won't. I will tell you, though, that I lost a good friend the day before yesterday, and then I lost another friend in the truth movement. Both of those events hurt me a lot, but again, it is what it is. And slings and arrows, just have to deal with them. Slings and arrows. Why do I bother doing this? Before we get to the end of today's video, I will tell you why I bother doing this. All right, changing screens. Let's see if I can quickly find. The other day, I put up a post, and I labeled it as the most ominous thing that I had ever posted. And I never really explained what was so ominous about it, because it didn't appear to be, it wasn't new information. It wasn't anything that anyone who reads my blog or who listens to my videos or who shares a forum with me didn't already know. So how come I labeled it the most ominous? I'm going to get that screen up. And I may follow it with another piece. Okay. The piece that I labeled as the most ominous thing that I have ever published, which is credentialed information, comes from Navy Jack in an article posted by Oath Keepers and sent out by email to the Oath Keepers membership, and is also posted in full on the Oath Keepers national site, their main site. Warning: Christian churches must prepare for battle with ISIS. This was not new information. Everybody following my blog is aware of all of this. I had previously posted the Islamic magazine. There's a picture of that. And I have read, I posted the PDF actually of this Islamic magazine, issue number 15. I have read not all of it, but quite a bit of it. Others I know have read it all. And so it is partly on the basis of this magazine, which is entitled, I don't know how you would say this, Dabiq, D-A-B-I-Q, issue number 15. And its lead article is entitled, Break the Cross. Shows a picture of a guy on top of church dismantling the cross. This Islamic guy on top of the church with the Islamic flag up there. And he's dismantling the cross. Break the cross. Okay. Warning. Christian churches must prepare for battle with ISIS or close their doors. This is Stuart Rhodes putting this out. Article is online at the Oath Keepers National website and includes commentary by Stuart Rhodes, founder of Oath Keepers. I will repost this so it'll be readily available for whoever wants to look at it. Excerpts from the article. ISIS recently released the 15th issue of its official magazine, Dabiq. This latest issue is titled, Break the Cross. The issue focuses on waging war against Christians and the sign of the cross. In the foreword to its magazine, ISIS damns Christians as cross worshippers, pagans, and idolaters because of their belief in the Holy Trinity. It says Jesus Christ himself was a slave to Allah, who will return in the last days to wage jihad and break the crosses. ISIS encourages followers to build upon the recent success in Normandy, France, by expanding the attacks to all Christian churches, congregations, and pastors. In the recent attack in France, 2 ISIS terrorists entered a Catholic church and slit the throat of an elderly priest on the altar while he was saying Mass. A nun was also critically injured in the attack. The magazine articles make it perfectly clear, quote, the fact is, even if you were to stop bombing us, imprisoning us, torturing us, vilifying us, and usurping our lands, we would continue to hate you because our primary reason for hating you will not cease until you embrace Islam. Unquote. The Christian Times, a publication, in cooperation with the FBI, is reporting that ISIS is creating kill lists using online church directories to target churches, congregations, and pastors in Texas, New York, California, and Florida. According to the report, the kill list named nearly 15,000 Americans to be eliminated. Shows a picture labeled ISIS executes Coptic Christians in April 2015. There's a line of prisoners in orange jumpsuits on their knees, and behind them stand the black hooded executioners with their knives. Guandolo advises churches to increase security and to use real men who are members of the church. He adds that if they cannot find any men in the church who know how to use weapons, they should close their doors. Quote, follow the final messenger, Muhammad G. For in doing so, you will be following all of the prophets. If you refuse, then we offer you the option to pay jazah. That's a tax. That's a tax. Pay this tax to stay alive. And live under the authority of Islam in humiliation. That kind of humiliation is called dehimitude. If you refuse, then the only thing between you and us is the sword. Abdu Saad at Trinidadi signs this. Comment from Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes, quoting, if you refuse, then the only thing between you and us is the sword. That works both ways. The only thing between you and us is the sword. Sounds good. Bring it. Quoting, Guandolo advises churches to increase security and to use real men who are members of the church. He adds that if they cannot find any men in the church who know how to use weapons, they should close their doors. Stewart, that statement is a bit ironic. To use real men who are members of the church, you first have to have real men in the church, as in men who act like men in clothes with and kill the enemy when he shows up, not like the wimpy Frenchman in that Catholic church in Normandy. I don't know that there were even any men present in that church in Normandy. I know there were women, but leave that aside. Going on. Stewart says, and to think that all the American, British, and Canadian real men who fought, bled, and died in Normandy, only to have the modern, emasculated French metrosexuals flee from the church, screaming like schoolgirls, as their elderly priest had his throat slit by two jihadist goblins. What the hell did our men die for? For a France that is now a perfect petri dish full of jahazi paying dehimitude, where the cry is no longer Viva la France, but is instead, better a live coward than a dead hero, let the old priest fend for himself. My grandfather on my father's side fought as an infantryman in the Battle of the Bulge. I am now glad he has long since passed on, so he didn't have to see what has become of the Europe he fought for. Well, that part is true then. The American men who went to World War I certainly thought they were fighting on the side of right. They were fighting to save Europe. Going on. But what about here in America? Are there real men in your church? Are they armed and switched on during service to safeguard the church and those who worship inside? Are they morally, psychologically, and physically prepared to close with and kill the enemy when he shows up? This threat is real, and it is going to happen here. The church will be hit, and it might be yours. Get ready. Go armed in church and organize your church men's group into an armed security force for the church. They must all be armed, since you cannot reason with a jihadist. You cannot negotiate with him. The only way to change his mind is with a bullet. I recommend semi-automatic high-capacity handguns of at least 9mm caliber with at least one spare magazine and a no-nonsense knife. And then at a minimum, a couple of shotguns discreetly hidden but within easy reach of members of the security team. And it would be foolish to rely only on armed men inside the church. You need men on the outside too. At the very least, you need a minimum of 2 armed men outside the church, and ideally they should have rifles nearby, in addition to their handguns, who are watching who approaches the church. More is better, including someone who is not easily seen, such as sitting in a car watching from a distance. Then you need at least 2 in the main entryway, watching who enters and what they do as they enter. Then you need at least 2 more carrying concealed in the main room, watching the entrances and the people in the church, not the sermon. And if you really want your pastor / preacher / priest to be safe, then assign at least 2 men to guard him within 10 feet of him at all times. They are there to push the pastor down out of the line of fire, or to tackle or shoot a close-range threat. Think in layers and in multiple teams of 2. No man should work alone, always in teams of 2 or more. And they need radios so they can communicate, and ideally earpieces so they can do so discreetly. And encourage others in the congregation to also go armed and to join the security team. Get them all trained and practiced in working together, and prepare yourselves for what is coming. We here at Oath Keepers can and will help. We would be happy to have our experienced military and police veterans come to your church, do a security assessment, and help to train your men's group and the ladies too, to protect the church. Many of our members have recent training and experience dealing with active shooters, terrorists, and high-threat environments. Many of them spent considerable time in Iraq and Afghanistan. We can help. Just email us and put church security training in the subject line. This is exactly what our community preparedness teams are supposed to be doing, training the community to defend itself. That is job 1 for a CPT, community preparedness team. And given the threat, those CPTs need to give high priority to any church that requests help. And if your church is on an ISIS hit list, or if it has received a direct threat, or you otherwise believe your threat level is very high, then contact us, and we will do our best to put a security team of Oath Keepers on your church until you can get one of your own trained up. But the ultimate goal should be for the men in the church to be the ones to guard the church. Get ready. It is coming. Signed, Stuart Rhodes. Again, I will repost this. There is much more to this article. That was merely an excerpt. Now, why is this the most ominous thing that I have ever posted? Because of who it is coming from. You know, it's one thing. See, this is not just coming from some loony old lady in her nightgown making crazy videos. This is not just coming from, a conspiracy nut who has issues on conspiracy forums. This is not just coming from me. It is always conceivable, and even probable, that I could be wrong about a lot of things. I could. The old lady in the nightgown. I could be completely unhinged, mentally unbalanced, unsafe to be on my own recognizance. But there is no way in hell that this group, who are the Oath Keepers, are wrong. And that's why this is so ominous, and y'all need to pay attention. And I say y'all, quite confident that nearly everyone who watches, hears my videos, are already wide awake and aware. So I realize I'm speaking to the choir. Yeah, I am speaking to the choir. And I'm grateful for that. Grateful y'all are out there. I have been keeping in touch on my end with certain, I don't know them all, of course, I haven't caught up with all of them yet, but I have been following the last few weeks, last few months, some of the Christian watchmen as they do blog talk radio, as they use other formats. One of my other very dear colleagues, Omega, has put up a post the other day that had a part that I felt was extremely significant. I'm going to go and get that up on my screen so that I can make sure that I'm reviewing it correctly. I believe this is the... forums do still have their place, even though the infiltration by the trolls, the moles, is way over my head. They've really done a job. Yeah, they really have. So if you continue to participate on a conspiracy forum, be aware that it's been co-opted, and the voice of truth will be smothered completely out if they're able to do it, as they have pretty much been able to do in my case. Sorry, sons of bitches, but that's how it is. I am scrolling down here. I want to find this one particular thing. Still scrolling. Okay, this is an article about quantum computers and D waves. And you know, I don't personally have the kind of brain cells that can make much sense out of anything related to quantum physics or quantum computers or D waves or any of that. I have to leave that for others who are equipped to work on those kinds of topics. I can't. But in the middle of this piece, with regard to quantum computers and CERN and Los Alamos National Laboratory and so on and so forth, all this that is way up over my head, there is something that relates to another facet. Again, I will post this for those who are not in the small forum and haven't seen this before, and I will put it up outside on the outside blog. The stage is being set for massive change worldwide. A boom in technical progress will assist the fourth industrial revolution, and new physics will be part of an acceleration into the days when the doctrines of demons will have an even more disturbing effect than ever imagined. As artificial intelligence continues to develop, man's ability to access directly with supernatural spiritual entities will also increase. The line between artificial intelligence and actual intelligence will be erased. Humans are currently suffering severe psychological trauma as a result of this interaction. I do believe that that is a correct assessment. Humans are currently suffering severe psychological trauma, and part of that trauma may well be as a result of this interaction going on. The internet and increase of hyper-reality is evidence of this today. The chaos and social upheaval, along with the political insanity happening all around us, is damaging the minds of our youth and future generations. You can think of all kinds of things to fill in that blank right there. The Pokemon phenomenon is just one. The addiction to cell phones is another. The addiction to texting is another. Oh, I'm getting warm. I need to slip my sweater off. Oh, and poor little Edward is squeaking. Okay. The internet and increase of hyper-reality is evidence of this today as well. So going on, the remnant church of Watchmen. This paragraph is stuck right in here with this. The remnant church of watchmen. Unique to this generation is a group of Bible-believing Christians who aren't reaching for relevancy with the culture or attempting to keep up with the ever-tightening world of the politically correct. Rather, this remnant are watching, pointing out the various events happening worldwide. They suggest that such things are resonating deeply with the prophetic passages of the Bible. Dormant passages have come to life in light of modern developments. And while dissension within is always present, there is an agreement amongst many of the brethren that something is afoot, and we live in uniquely prophetic days. One of the many voices in this alternative space is Anthony Patch. His insight and understanding of the modern progress in science, he suggests, confirms many of the biblically prophetic realities at play. So that name is Anthony Patch. Unique to this generation is a group of Bible-believing Christians who aren't reaching for relevancy with the culture. And those are the guys that I have tapped into and have been listening to, evaluating, and find myself independently through, whatever method I ever reach or how it works for me, in agreement with these guys. And I have fumbled around trying to find an appropriate name to call them, since the word Christian has become so interconnected with other meanings, all kinds of meanings that are negative to Jesus. The other day I said I would call them the people of Jesus. Well, that's kind of didn't work too well either. And remember back in the 60s, there was the Jesus freaks. The remnant church of watchmen. There is a remnant church of watchmen. I have been calling them the Christian watchmen. This may be, in part, the 144,000 of the elect, the remnant church of watchmen. There's a lot of people you wouldn't think at first glance would be members of that remnant church of watchmen. Dabu and some of his friends are part of that. Dave Hodges is certainly part of that. Doug Hagman is certainly part of that. Steve Quayle is certainly part of that. There are many people, well known and not so well known, who are probably part of the remnant church of watchmen. Some of the people listening to me as I speak right now are probably part of the remnant church of watchmen. This is what I think. All right, going on. Oh, yes, and yes, the remnant church of watchmen that I have been listening to on Blog Talk and other such sources are very aware of the list that ISIS has released of the 15,000 names. This is not hearsay. And yes, they are concerned. Yes, they are alert and aware. Yes, they have and are and will continue to take various precautions, but they will not stand down. So going on, one of the many voices in this alternative space is Anthony Patch. Anthony Patch, also is a Christian watchman. And although I never really heard of Anthony Patch until my colleague posted this, I did a little quick search, and it became readily apparent to me that Anthony Patch is well known by the other Christian watchmen, and they consider this physicist fully one of their colleagues. All right, going on, next paragraph of this. Mandela portals, ? In this episode, Anthony discusses his take on the Mandela effect and what he terms Mandela portals. In short, he believes that the phenomenon we see online is that of a psychological operation coming from, perhaps, high levels of government, or even more mysterious, the quantum computer itself. Since the machine is thought to have achieved artificial intelligence, it is possible that the network of D-wave computers has already begun to show signs of sentience. Upon this development, it would be possible that the D-wave AI would use the deeper layers of reality from where it lurks to access something, the information cloud of the global internet, location of the quantum internet. It's possible, I missed this is small print and I missed some of the print. Rewind. Under this development, it would be possible that the D-wave artificial intelligence would use the deeper layers of reality from where it lurks to access something, the information cloud of the global internet, what some call Mariana's Web, named after Mariana's Trench, the deepest trench on the ocean floor. From this murky, mysterious location of the quantum internet, it's possible that this artificial intelligence can manifest by presenting ideas into clusters or network groups of special interest communities online. Is it possible that the Mandela effect phenomenon online is such an experiment conducted by the AI for it to learn about human behavior? Could the idea that history has been altered, such claimed by the likes of the Mandela effect, be precisely the mold by which our lives are being examined and observed? So this is one of the things that has probably been going on the forum, such as I have participated in. While such possibilities are alarming, it's important to remember that all these developments are under the authority and direction of God. As God allows the world of sin and flesh come to its fruition, his eventual removal of the restrainer will result in the outpouring of demonic filth upon the fallen fleshly world. Our job is not only to warn, but to maintain the hope that is found in the person of Jesus Christ, his death, burial, and resurrection. It is only through him that we are protected by the seal of God, so that our souls will not be overtaken by the harvest of the fallen one. Anthony Patch will be the guest speaker on Monday evening on Doug Hagman's blog talk. I don't have a link for that yet, but I know he's going to be there, and I will post that link when it becomes available. So getting back briefly to this paragraph about the remnant church of watchmen. The watchmen are not all in accord with each other beyond a certain point. Up to this point, what has been revealed so far, all are in accord. All feel, state, and specify that we are in the time of the end, in the time that was prophesied. Very close now, awaiting the second coming of Christ. Where they begin to differ is at the point which is a little bit beyond right now, into the areas that have not yet been fully revealed. But the revealing is coming. All things that have been hidden, secret, and covered will be revealed. And as each of these things are revealed, we will see them and recognize them. But I believe that the watchmen are now all on the same page. I believe all of us are now on the same page. And those who are not on this page probably can't get there. Not on the page. Probably can't quite catch up. Who knows how that part of it will look. Okay. So there is more about the Mandela effect, but I don't think that I may put up more information about it, but I think I won't say anything more about it at this moment. Going to my blog page to see what else is there that may need a few comments. I saw a list, I think it was day before yesterday, detailing the 26 cities where Black Lives Matter had planned protests. Milwaukee was certainly one. Such was one city on the list, and yes, that was carried through. Then I don't think this is exactly Black Lives Matter, but it definitely is a false flag, and it's not cool at all. Having to do with the shoot down, a Muslim cleric and associate shot to death on a New York City street. A Muslim cleric and an associate were fatally shot by a lone gunman on Saturday while walking together following afternoon prayers at a mosque in the New York City borough of Queens, authorities said. The gunman approached the men from behind and shot both in the head at close range at about 1:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on a blistering hot afternoon in the Ozone Park neighborhood, police said in a statement, adding that no arrests have been made. All right, so this story progresses on, and I'm moving to this. Violence in Milwaukee, big surprise. If you have not been paying attention, Milwaukee has had a violent weekend with 9 shootings, five, wait a minute, maybe I'm on the wrong page here. Yeah, that's not what I wanted, sorry. Sorry. That isn't it either. In any case, the shoot down of the Imam, or Iman, I guess you have to say Iman, and a friend walking with him. That was a false flag too. Went a little bit in reverse. Designed to agitate and set off further violence of that nature and more retaliation from whatever direction. We here have been following the big picture, and in the big picture, we are able to identify very clearly the 3 large social forces that are moving in interaction across the planet at this time. One of those massive social forces is Islam. Everywhere you look, there is Islam doing this and that. It was Islam who set up a Muslim foot soldiers who set up and started off what may end up being a conflagration in Ukraine and Crimea, which flared President Putin's nostrils. It is Islam, a player in Turkey, flaring some kind of conflagration there. NATO, of course, is mixed up in all of this. And NATO, of course, is representative of and is boots on the ground of the other big social force that is moving. And that is the New World Orderers of all their labels, names, and stripes from the top of the pyramid down to the bottom of the pyramid. And both of those social forces are the front men, those in body, of the spiritual force that goes by several names. Satan, Lucifer, is an evil spiritual force, the demonic. Those who have the ears to hear and the eyes to see and the heart that is brave enough can recognize that this is the truth. This is how it is. And then the third social force represents the masses of the world's people, most of whom are deaf, blind, and dumb, ignorant, and deliberately kept so. And then there is the handful of the awake, aware Christians, the Christian watchmen. We seem massively outnumbered. And by numbers, I'm sure we are outnumbered. But by power and glory, we are not. I am not a person of faith. I am that one that was, spoken to, that said, ye of little faith, ye of little faith, if you had but the faith of a mustard seed. Well, but I am ye of little faith. I falter a lot. I hang on because I know what I know. But I don't have the gift of faith. And I also, frankly, I don't have the gift of hope either. Hope seems to me just to be the biggest trap in the world, because, it's like a two-sided coin, and what you get on the other side of that coin is massive disappointment. And I kind of don't like that side of the coin. So I'm not a person of faith. I'm not a person of hope. I am, and somehow managed to continue to be a person of love. Even though, and in spite of, and again, it's because I know what I know. And I kind of feel like a, cell phone. I feel like a cell phone, and my battery is running down. I need to be recharged. I don't know where the charger is or how to get that recharging. I am actively asking, praying for reinforcements. It's hard going. It just really is. So we'll see what comes next. Oh, my little Edward. Oh, little Edward. Little Edward. There's little Edward. I know, baby. I know, baby. Poor little Edward. Okay. Mm-mm. All right. Okay. I have to stop here. Thank you for joining me. Um, and I will return when I can, if I can. Everything seems really provisional right now, but I, I will do another video if I can. Talk to you later. I love you.